Will DarkZero prevail, or will Astralis dig deep and the young players attain greatness and move us to map number 5? Let's find out. We are underway with the bans. Nick, starting on defense is DarkZero. They remove Ying. On Oregon, that's a very sensible ban. She is an operator that causes much paralysis and a little bit of vision problems inside of the bomb sites. Flores falls as well, leaving just the last 2 defenders to be taken out of play.
Both of these attackers, of course, is about clearing out either utility or for the execute on the bomb site itself. This is going to make the attacker's job a little bit more difficult, or you'll have to flex yourself thinner on different operators that don't see that much play, for example, such as Capital. Mirror is a stable, expected ban on most maps. Oregon is no different, and Lesion is a specific target ban onto Astralis. It's been iconic who's mostly been playing this operator, and not with a ton of success. But Oregon is quite a linear map. These goo mines that give information.
They did it!
They did it?
They did it!
Good job.
For the first time in this entire best of 5, we have full Skinnergy across the board.
Thank you, Henry.
Thank you, Henry.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
All right, so when we started this grand finals, Parker, you asked the crowd who they're cheering for, and it was pretty 50-50 out.
Hold on, don't forget Ian.
Okay.
Ian Chambers was also in the conversation.
Ian was in the conversation as well.
He's my choice.
He's your choice, that's fine. But I want to ask the crowd right now, who are you cheering for? Make some noise if it's Astralis. It was louder before, I think. All right. If you're a DarkZero, make some noise! All right, I'll get to it. What about Ian? Make some noise for Ian, our lovely stage host! Yes, thank you.
Ian's sitting in the green room probably going, how did I get roped into this camp?
We love Ian.
We love Ian. See, there you go. Gets a personal shout out. Either way, we know that the crowd will go home happy. A lot of you came here to cheer for North America, and they have proven you right to do so.
Phenomenal region. Right now, I mean, I myself doubted NA just 6 months ago when I first moved here to Las Vegas, and I was proven wrong very quickly. You know, they stepped up, they started playing Go Force, went to Gucci stores, probably more often than not, but still they showed up in the server and they mattered the most. And we get new representation. OXG, new roster. Astralis, new roster. DC picking up young gunners, all thriving. It's been lovely to see him being a part of the entire route. And NA is arguably looking like the strongest region so far. Let's see if they can hold on. Let's see who comes out on top right now between DarkZero and Astralis. It's Oregon. First minute has passed. We are moving through the map rather swiftly, opening up these hatches. Forest in good control here.
Instead of those hatches being opened up. You think Iconic will be moved on to hard breach duty at any point if things don't go in his favor?
Deploying drone.
A terrible time to have your worst performance at the major with your team in the most consequential match that you have ever played. We know that his potential is better than what he's accomplished, and he's someone that will be under heavy watch. Halfway point, Astralis already prepped to start their assault onto this defense of DarkZero. Down below, nade goes out. Canadian trying to dump as much bullets in their direction. Nothing really ventured. ADS is now reset as it's more utility dumping. Nades go out. First kill goes to J90. Astralis on the board first here on Oregon.
They're Oregon, all about execution, right? The devil is in the details because it's a very linear map. Most teams attack and defend in the exact same similar fashion. So it comes down to those last second decision. In the moment, the pixel situations, making the right moments happen at the right time. So far, Astralis, they found the first. Can they find more?
As an impact from NJR, he knows the advance is coming. He has to play this tight angle. They walk right in, and he manages to get away. Panbazoo doesn't, though. And suddenly, Astralis look far more formidable. They're narrowing them down, and they clean them out. Astralis take round 1.
Explosive start, fast indeed. Astralis, all 5 members down on the bomb site, did not shut down the drone game from Astralis, and that's gonna punish them. Because the map is very linear, because it plays out in a very similar fashion every single time for most teams, You can expect where the defenders will be, where the attackers will be. You gotta get up those staircases, find those initial drones, stall down or slow down the attacking side, buy yourself a few more seconds. Otherwise, the Goyo pick, as you see, won't even pay off that much. And I'm afraid that the Skinnergy has disappeared already.
Well, we tried our best.
We tried our best.
We got one round of it.
It's good
We got one round of it. You mentioned, by the way, how pivotal a map Bank is in Troy's history as a player.
Yes.
This is Redemption Island for Troy. This map and a small blunder
The top wide
that
stairs.
became a much bigger blunder
Yeah.
ended up being incredibly important in his career. Yes, there's been some redemption on Oregon. DarkZero actually beat, was it TSM, in the North American major that was all NA to win their first technical major champion, even though it was just it was an online event. It wasn't a LAN like this with a crowd. It was also all NA. It was won on this map. But when I see Troy as a player, then he will dominate the conversation because of his pedigree and because of how long he's been around for. Oregon is the map that I most closely associate him with. How poetic it would be if you're a fan of DarkZero for the championship for DarkZero to be won on this map.
Absolutely.
Or Bank. I mean, it's
Both
if you're a fan of
ways.
DarkZero, you don't give a damn about what map it happens on. You just want them to win.
Well, you are right. There is some history to be told and learned there, and maybe a bad situation that can be rectified, but this grenade from Forest finds Pambasu. Pamba been so formidable in every single map so far, having a slow start to Oregon, and Astralis, a very fast one indeed. EMPs available, flashbangs and grenades, they have so much utility and so much time to work with, as well as the man advantage.
The attackers bombed the
Astralis just gotta play a clean round now, clear out this shield position and trophy, and with those EMPs, that's way too easy, way too quick. Second man to follow, it's Canadian off the board, a shuttle on the propel finds a second.
Hyper now will have to watch the opening that's been created on this Dorm's defense. On the top floor, Astralis starting off with a great tempo. And there's a grenade to land into the lap of Hyper. Necessitates a smoke to try to give some cover. NJR swings, wins the duel. He's the only person to get a kill so far. And he gets paid for it by an early death by J Nano. Swiftly. Eclipse has the marks, beautiful shot on the shuttle, but he can't do more than that. Iconic comes alive. Astralis starting off Oregon on a tear.
They chose this attacking side. Remember, this is DC's map. That means Astralis going to choose where they start. They chose attack, and we said two things. Either one, dictate the operator ban phase, or two, set the pace and set the tone for this map to come. They've done both of those, and because of that, they've got a 2-0 lead for the first time this entire series, and they are looking alive.
It's a very good point. They have never won those consecutive rounds to start off a map. Is this a timeout early?
That's
wow.
very early.
How humbling for DarkZero to have to burn their timeout after 2 rounds. We talked about how dominant the wins for DarkZero were when they won a round on Border. And what do we see? The exact same thing, but for Astralis. Put it in Astralis' column because those 2 rounds have been so methodical. Impressive start. And exactly what they need. More of those rounds from Astralis. Knock DZ off their game. See if you can break their mental. And the most impressive part for me with Astralis would be this. They're a young team that have never competed in an international best of 5 before. If they can stick with it and go to all 5 maps and dominate DarkZero on their map pick on Oregon, then I think that bodes really well for the Bank shootout that we would see.
I fully agree. I mean, Astralis, you just need a few victories here and there. They'll fire right back up, I'm sure of it. Doing good work so far. It's early days in Oregon, of course, and I want to say DC calling a timeout after second round. I think it speaks to the amount of respect that DarkZero has for Astralis. You don't take a timeout this early on unless you truly think you need it, and that's due to respecting your opponent. Crowd giving a bit of power to the side of Astralis as they find the momentum now. They also found the crowd. They are live. They got some operators in their pockets. They got the Lion and the Nook, can work together in union to sneak in through the map and gain some information. Forest doing just that very quickly in the first 20 seconds.
Droned in down below. Diffuser being escorted by J90. No traditional support player on this Astralis lineup at the moment, and not a single hard breacher either.
Forest.
It's all up to the Nook, and he's going to engage early. It's a sloppy gunfight. Hyper and Forest emerge alive, if not damaged, and immediately back onto drone. But look at this. If he reads it correctly, it's the big bad Nadian, but he loses it to Forest. Outdueled by the Nook. Opening pick goes in favor of Astralis again. They burn an E1D to keep a refrag from happening. And it's Iconic who takes NJR and turns him into a beautiful piece of scenery.
Dark's in the back end, had to get aggressive now. You gotta lash out and find a kill or two on this map. You cannot stay in the bomb side because it's not gonna be safe. You're gonna get overrun and swarmed. Eclipse in the freezer stairs, Hyper on the armory, one's a laundry, one should I say. They're looking for a pick, and Astralis trying to play it slow, holding out angles. Those adrenal surges coming out, healing back up the injured members of their lineup right now. Forest almost back to full HP once that final surge goes through, and there it is. We're looking healthy.
Final surge used, as you pointed out, and it nets them at least one, or is somewhat helpful as Eclipse gets picked off. How about you take a timeout and then get flawless, because that's what's on the menu right now, and Forest could have another. As he creeps up, looking to the right. Out goes a grenade, tucked in the corner. A flawless is definitely there, but Forest doesn't see Hyper. Hyper picks up 3 huge kills, but DP Fire says there's no magic this time. Not after what you did to us on Border. 3 in a row for Astralis.
Beautiful and ridiculous triple from Hyper, but it doesn't matter in the end because Astralis, they swarm the bomb site. There are so many more bodies on their side than theirs. DC are falling so swiftly. Forest on the injured, finding every single member of DC that was on the roam, leaving just Hyper in the end, who also fell to the grave eventually. Forest looking alive and comfortable on the Oregon side. The pace is important here. The speed of which Astralis are taking the map control is everything. Normally when you play Oregon Defense, you can estimate where on the map the attackers will be based on how much time has passed. Usually, they'll start entering the building, 20 to 30 seconds into the round. Normally, you'll start getting contested at about 45 seconds of the round. But in the first 20 seconds, we're seeing Forest basically finding the first engagement and almost the first kill. It's way ahead of schedule, and it's catching DarkZero off guard time and time again. Round 4. Let's change it up if you're DarkZero. Tertiary bomb site, meeting and kitchen. Normally, this is your last resort. DarkZero trying to make it their first choice.
Meeting and kitchen has been played 12 times. It's been won 6 times by the defense, 6 times by the attackers. So, split right down the middle if you're terrible at math. We'll help you out a little bit. Playing aggressively, DZ understands what's at stake. They're losing the plot. Their timeout goes. It does not succeed the way they want it to. Not embarrassed necessarily on the next round, but Astralis has been firmly in control of this map. A surprise given the result that we saw on Border, but again, this scrappy team of Astralis. Sticking with it, never giving up.
They're piecing together this puzzle, this plan of theirs. Honestly, the plan looks good from a top-down view, but the execution, the small details, just doesn't go in their favor more often than not. And it leaves them in the dust, usually. But so far, looking mighty fine, and again, within the first minute, the most important area for DC and Eclipse right now is taken away from them. 2 spare reinforcements. If he has the guts, could reinforce off this wall, but they'll get opened up eventually. Forest finds Pambasu again!
Opening pick, but it's traded back. No advantage for Astralis to be found as DP Fire is removed from action. No EMPs available any longer. One thing as well that will enable a run at us, there's been a Prisma tossed outside. Iconic having a much better game now. He's woken up from his slumber. And just like that, he's looking to put the rest of DZ to sleep. Canadian still searching for his very first kill. Very far off site, roaming over in garage. NJR in security, he's a couple steps away, and look at that. Oh, he sees one. A toxic canister primed and ready. He's trapped inside with the door gone. Canadian net shuttle, that's his first kill. We talked about it before. Still inside a garage, effectively trapped, but the Prisma is still outside. If Canadian wants to rotate, it will continue to show that it's there. Interesting strategy that DZ's used before. They used it on Border a while back. This allows them to go and do what they need, and I think that might be the thinking for Canadian. J90 upstairs as it's a 3v3 with just a little under a minute to go, and Adrenal Surge could signal a potential execute. And JR swats away at Iconic, another drop, but J90 is just simply better on the duel. Now he can jiggle around the bomb chassis while Forrest gets the diffuser down. It's a 2v2. The players from DZ will be in a 1v2 against J90, and there it is. Forrest gets cut down, a beautiful retake. DarkZero get their very first round on their own map.
Hyper held up a bomb for so long, it paid off in the end, and NGR alone on that bomb site had so much confidence that if he were to fall, Canadian Hyper could clutch it out in that 2v2, and they do just that. But this is, again, we're scrapping together these rounds. It's not looking pretty, but we're making it work. 1 to 3. This is goal line for DC.
I mean, DZ played it so well, it was just that they traded sides effectively. DarkZero was holding above, they gave up that control. They went downstairs, they lost their bodies downstairs, they retook that top floor. And Astralis did not know this.
Why we love Siege.
A war has broken out in the crowd over which team to cheer for.
You know it's a good grand finals when you can't, make up your mind if you're in the crowd, because they want both teams to win so bad, and they're both fighting so desperately and so hard for it too. It has not been as one-sided as the scores might indicate earlier on. Those 7-3s and 7-2s does come down to multiple clutch moments from both sides, but as DC just coming out on top a little bit more often, those 1v2s and 2v2s, playing a little bit more together, more effectively so. 4 drones alive now from Astralis. That means they got good drone network. DB5 has one on the side that gets taken down. 3 drones left for Astralis. Those are likely going to be inside small tower, 1 top floor, 1 big tower most likely. Trying to get info on the 3 most important areas of the map. EE1D goes out early, so maybe an aggressive start for Astralis, looking to take map control as they have so far, keeping DC on the bomb site as they have last time they're in the basement. And yes, all 5 members of DC are actually downstairs, which means Astralis can just walk on in, take full control of the map in the first minute if they want to.
Yeah, I was surprised that they burned the EE1D when they did, but I assume it's either they think they have a DZ player off-site that they can capitalize on, and yeah, we still have 2 minutes and 20 seconds left, and there's only a single EE1D. That is a breathtakingly quick pace.
So the thing is about the line is that typically in a round of Rainbow Six Siege, you will use the first EE1D at stage 1 of the round and the second one in the stage 2. But by using both of them and just rushing the building, they're actually past stage 1 and stage 2 of the round. They're now slowly creeping towards stage 3 in the first minute. The execute, right? You're gonna open up these hatches, then drone the bomb site, and pick either a front attack, a back attack, or a spread out attack. So you're sacrificing these early Lion charges for all this time on the clock. And the final charge should go out with the execute on the bomb site itself. And because the Astralis have 1 minute and 45 seconds to work with, they can just take all the time they need, spend all 10 of their drones, because they know for a fact that all 5 members are stuck in the basement with no way up.
Halfway point. The early bit that we had seen from Astralis didn't really do all that much. Maybe it pushed the DZ roamers off of the critical parts of the map that they need to hold for that desired map control. Grenade goes in. The target is a Banshee Malusi. Malusi's Banshee. I don't know if it successfully got it or not. Shuttle, don't blow yourself up. There we go. It seems like they've got it this time around. Punch holes inside of the closet, but there's nobody there. Shuttle can continue his march towards the bomb site. We'll see the head for a second. Nothing else to be found. Final moment. It's the Warden to try and stave off a push from Laundry Stairs. Droned out multiple times. Still sitting in this spot. Hyper Jiggle peeking around. This will be a tough one to make. Shuttle to do it, and they're in the building. They're in the bomb site. NJR removes Iconic. Trading back and forth. Neither team really with an advantage. And a shotgun up as DZ derails the freezer push. Diffuser in the hands of Forrest. Limited HP for Shuttle. The 2 players from Astralis, who now need to watch. As the reset button is hit with 30 seconds to go, both teams realize that, well, there's a lot on the line. The diffuser cannot be planted. There we go. Panbazoo creeping up, still looking for his first kill, doesn't get it. DP Fire doing so well. Canadian to try to clutch in a 1v2. Diffuser down, not a ton of intel for him to play off of. Instincts, that's about it. Astralis have gotten as far away from the bomb site as possible. Instead, up top. And it looks like the diffuser's in a spot where you can easily cover from that hatch. Canadian tries to duel, but Forrest shrouds him in mystery, and Astralis is up 4-1.
look at Astralis just taking a complete pause in the middle of that round. And that's again because they have the time to do that. They go to the bomb side, they start planting, they lose a member, they stop planting for 30 seconds straight. And that's only possible because they executed with a whole minute left on the clock again. The early round is where Astralis are winning this because they're buying themselves so many luxuries that normally you wouldn't have. And normally DC could punish this, but they can't right now because they simply just give them too much space. DC has to get aggressive on the rope. They have to shut down these injuries and really punish Astralis for going too quick. They haven't done it yet. The Warden keeps coming out because, well, he's the good operator. Get that shotgun, you get a good secondary, deployable shield because you throw smokes and flashbangs. Value.
It is a little bit odd to see a Warden brought multiple times when you have a Ying ban on the board. I can understand a Warden when there are Yings in play. You gotta be wary of those Candelas. We've seen some Glass play on Oregon too. Those smokes, another thing that Warden can see through.
10 seconds left.
But the lineup that Astralis is favoring doesn't really necessitate a Warden. Maybe you just want the shield that comes with it. Maybe you want the shotgun for destruction if you don't think that the smoke is able to accomplish it enough. You've also got the Aruni. So
I do want to say that Eclipse is often finding himself in positions that are heavily under pressure from flashbangs. So while there's only like one set of flashbangs for DP fire, not a huge issue, you still get to play that smoke mute kind of operator. You know, shotgun primary, SMG secondary, deployable shield, and because of Eclipse's positioning, he can now see through those smokes or flashbangs if he has to, which is a great benefit to have. Of course, he's going to be playing down below right now, no C4, which means not as good as a mute in that particular instance, but he can rotate around the map. Glass has not been broken on these windows, which means defenders cannot hear a repel. If you break down that glass by shooting the window 4 or 5 times, you can therefore hear that repel. DP Fire trying to take advantage, but gets off it instead. We're working out the trophy side as Astralis has every single round so far. They're so effective at clearing out this angle.
upside down repel, that's the real deal. That's not a clone, that's not a Gemini. Forest goes to Canadian's flank. DZ opens up round number 6 in style.
How? He's just running on the map constantly, not being found out at all. I mean, Astralis might be going a little too fast here.
In the words of Troy, I'm crazy! Hopefully my impression wasn't too bad.
That's all right. Fuse on the ground. Gonna get picked up here. Woo! Not getting picked up just yet. Now Canadian will be stuck inside this area of Armory. Iconic on the repel.
The value that Canadian is getting right now.
It's good.
He gets 1 pick. We're at the halfway point of the round. 3 people from Astralis are looking in his direction. He's got a nitro cell that goes out. It won't connect. All the while, Panbazoo has died. A second for Canadian. Diffuser still far enough away. He knows the buck is down below it too. So you just need to be wary of where DP Fire is, dancing around what little of the floor is left for Canadian. Oh, quicksand and everybody's sinking around him, but he's still upright. Now it's DP Fire. Look at what one man can do in one spot. All 3 kills from DarkZero, all because of their leader, all because of his position. And Astralis are still trying to get him out of there. J9O and Shuttle have such a huge task on their hands. Could they finally get him? Canadians only lost about 10 HP. They can't clear the laser gate unless they decide to run through or expend one of those few lifelines remaining from J9O. 30 seconds to go, and the rest of DZ are just sitting there waiting. Now J9O is dropped from Hyper, and he gets both of them. Big Bad Canadian is absolutely correct. What a round from DarkZero.
I don't know. Troy is running through the map doing crazy things, and it worked off so well. Finding 1 kill is one thing, finding 3 and staying alive, beautiful. Max value, success. This, of course, puts the first half in the dust because it's round 7 about to start. Hyper, Shuttle, Forest, Panbazoo. 4 members to each team. I thought we learned better.
I thought Pamba had one.
Many bombs as they can.
I could have sworn Pamba had one, not that I'm trying to ride.
He took it off on purpose, I swear.
Not true.
I don't know.
Look at this. Hyper didn't want Finka, now he wants Yana. Panbazoo had Yana, now he wants Finka.
A little switcheroo there.
The old switcheroo.
I mean, let's talk about Panbazoo for a second here. So far in the first 3 maps, amazing individuals, stellar performance, doing great so far. On Oregon, he's looking a little small, 0 and 6 to his name, having a hard time finding an opening, so Finger is going to go to his side. Hopefully that can help him back into the round. The Finger Crutch, as some people refer to, the LMG and really strong gadgetry of that Adrenal Surge, 2 grenades and a gun 6. Arguably one of the highest value operators in all of Rainbow Six Siege right now in the current meta of soft destruction. And you also get an IQ. Canadian is picking up this operator simply to counter the information game from the defenders of Iconic on that Valkyrie, because when Oregon is a linear map, you know, there's very few areas that you care a lot about in terms of information. You want to make sure you can find those Valkyrie cameras, shut them down, and take away that information gained from the defenders.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Canadian now on the IQ as they swap sides. The tail of the first half, let's do it. This might be the
Let's
last
do it.
map. This might be the last attempt for us to go through it. Astralis obviously came ahead 4-2, but DarkZero looked a little bit better the final 3 rounds. They picked up 2 opening picks. Astralis 3, a trade for the other round, which was all the way back in round number 5. In terms of bomb sites, it was a lot of laundry, it was a lot of dorms, and there was a single tertiary bomb site of kitchen. That's the meeting and kitchen, obviously, or the kitchen and dining. Meeting and kitchen was not played one bit.
No, it was not. And normally it doesn't get to be seen much either, because, you know, tertiary bomb sites normally only get seen when the defensive side has a lot of victories, and as you saw, that wasn't the case at all for DarkZero. Slow start to their attack, but normally, you know, I'm not going to criticize this because that's what they've been doing so far against Astralis. It normally works out. Let them do the work, let them run in towards you, find the opening kill, then you're in the driver's seat. J9O looking to get mighty aggressive on the swing, get some damage.
NJR not as strong as he was before, but that's okay. 90 seconds left. There was a reinforcement going up by Iconic, but he thinks otherwise of it. Maybe he wants to provide J9O a way back into the bomb site, but your avenue to go through Attic might have just been removed now that DZ has taken control on rappel of the tower, all the way up to the top. DP Fire roaming down below. Not uncommon to be seen on a dorm's bomb site. Inside of security with a small window towards that big window. Through the floor, NJR gets the very first kill on to J9O, and now he's looking for more, but he doesn't know that DP Fire's inside of security. Immediately answered back, and another could be on the docket. Forrest takes down Hyper. This defense of Astralis looking pretty okay so far, emerging from that scuffle with the upper hand.
And Basu going in up the wide stairs here, has to see if he can make some trouble happen, but the Banshee gives away his position. He's exposed, he's vulnerable, but he's gonna go in with confidence. Gonna get flanked, seeking out, gets 1, gets 2, but there's a further flank on the wide stairs. He shuts him down, but the follow-up is there. It's now Eclipse, Canadian's down on the ground, it's 1v2. Iconic and DP Fire, make it work.
Canadian needs to be retrieved at some point, or else it's all on Eclipse to recover. Canadian will likely bleed out and give information. Through the floor, the bullets whiz by the head of Eclipse, none hitting. He knows that it's a 1v1 on the bomb site, and a flash goes out, repositioning through dorms. But it's a game of keep away. They've dropped in, and now he'll be vulnerable as he goes with the diffuser. And it's an easy finish with Iconic's Nitro Cell. Miraculously well done. And Astralis pick up the first round on their defensive half.
They're keeping it up. You see their Iconic, Stone Cold, just staying in it. They gotta give everything right now. They got such a big lead. 3 rounds, Panda with a nice injury, but DP Fire was in the right place at the right time with that white stairs flying around. It's a C4 to finish it off. Find that last attacker on the plant. Canadian found himself injured on the ground. Could not help in that round because there was no more adrenal surges to get him back on his feet. Basement defense. We go to next Forest on the Ellis shotgun.
Ellis shotgun, very common in various regions of Rainbow Six, played by Pillar, which is the back portion of the bomb site. Also, look at how quick that destruction goes.
Beautiful.
Tears right through all those soft walls. Expect an Ella to play over by Pillar in a position that is lovingly referred to as Harry Potter, because it's under the stairs.
Yes, you'd be correct.
You can also look towards blue, and that shotgun at such close range eviscerates whatever you throw at it. As for DarkZero, nothing really that weird. Canadian favors this Jackal, as you talked about previously. The scores on DarkZero so similar. 5-6, 5-6, 6-5, 6-5, 2-7. Same on Astralis. Relatively close, but Forrest has been the standout performer. Iconic is somewhat returning to form. I think he tried to spawn peek against Canadian. Requires at least 1 adrenal surge. A second will come, but will Canadian live to see it? That's the real question. Because DP Fire might have heard a rappel or somebody on his team. A punch through the window, but nobody from DarkZero in line of sight.
Look how much more aggressive Astralis are. This is a basement defense, by the way, but they're doing the thing that DarkZero did not. They're all across the map, top floor especially, with the DP fire on this Vigil. Has one last impact grenade, could use to escape, but instead, he used the sledge rotation. He's looking for the flank. Don't know the whereabouts. Oh, but his NGR turns around, shuts down DP fire, but it's a trade. Shuttle takes down Hyper with the C4 instead. It's 4v4, tied back up. Now Canadian with the Jackal can look for something. This drone finds Iconic. He's gonna have to run for the hills because he's gonna get chased down by 2 members. But Shuttle is there with the shotgun.
What a play by Shuttle, and he gets away quite safely. Back to the confines of Kitchen, but Panbazoo gets one. Could there be more? A disappearing act from Astralis as Panbazoo not having the performance that he needs in a must-win match for DarkZero if they don't want to go to a best-of-1 on bank. Pause, a lull in the action. Almost half the server cleared out, half of the round cleared out.
Let's look at what's in front of us right now. DC has 3 flashbangs, 2 smokes, and actually Panbazoo is also with a single flashbang, 1 single adrenal surge, and they got plenty of X-Kairos to breach walls and hatches. DC has everything they need for an execute. At the same time though, on the defensive side of Astralis, Banshees from the Melusi, Prismas from the Alibi, a shotgun from Forest. They also have ways to shut down the attack. Close quarter, their shotguns, they shine so strong. The one thing the defenders do not have, don't have a C4. There's no smoke, no toxic babes. They can't stall, they can't deny a plant. So defenders, they want to fight, whereas DC, they would like to use the utility to set up a plant or a push to gain some of this presence in the map.
That means it's gunfights galore, but they do have one thing. They have the shotgun in the hands of Forest. In a do-or-die situation, that thing is an absolute bullet hose, and it hits you like a truck. Flashbangs go out, and there's Panbazoo with yet another kill, 2 to his name, hunting them down. Things become dire for Forest. He's isolated at the back of the bomb site, and there's Iconic running through the smoke, and it's Panbazoo! The final 3 kills for his team. Well played for DarkZero. They're closing this gap.
They are. They're so important. They use the smoke grenades, use the flashbangs exactly like we wanted to see. Cutting off lines of sight, blinding the defenders, pushing through in, and trying to get at least 1 pick before planting down the diffuser. This early roam clear from DC to really put them in a good position. That disappearing at the servers was quite funky. Panbazoo held down the fort with the LMG. He's now back on the scoreboard on 6 kills. From 0-6 in the first 6 rounds to 6-6 by round 9 beginning.
Bear in mind that DZ used their timeout at the tail end of round number 2, which means that they do not have a parachute. They're in free fall. If things start going bad for DarkZero, that's it, it's over. And Astralis is only 2 rounds away from bank. Tantalizingly close from sending us to the 5th map of a best of 5. Most teams don't make it the distance.
I think there's a legit question as to should Astralis even call a timeout, right? Because if you do, you give DarkZero that parachute as well.
A good point. And there was a match in the NAL where SSG was not doing great. The match was on the line. They didn't call a timeout. And I asked Lycan, just over Twitter DMs, he said, why didn't you call the timeout? He goes, I felt it would have helped them as much as it would have helped us. There was no real benefit.
Yeah. And I think that's right now in this situation, if you're call out, the coach of Astralis, you gotta keep in mind, you might have something to share with your players right now that you think is crucial, but you're up 2 rounds. If you take a timeout, Mint, the coach of DarkZero, can do the exact same thing. So punish them. Punish the fact that you've burned the timeout early for Astralis. Just keep it in your pocket as long as possible. Try and burn through these rounds naturally.
I think it really depends on how confident Callout is in his ability to out-coach Mint.
For sure.
That's the big difference maker. If he thinks that settling his players down and outlining a strategy that easily takes advantage of wherever DarkZero is attacking from, then even though DarkZero will still be able to move their pieces on the chessboard, you'll end up leaving DZ in checkmate. Who knows? That's speculating later on. But Astralis find themselves keeping pace with DZ, which is good. DZ have not won 2 rounds in a row. Until they start doing that, if you trade rounds back and forth, Astralis comes out ahead by a scoreline of 7-5. That's still a nice spot to be in. It's something that's obviously in the back of their minds.
Same start, Astralis. They had a bit of an aggressive roam in the beginning, but they're falling back rather early on this time because they want to have those man numbers up this time because they know that in that 3v5 it was awfully close and they can make it even better if it's a 5v5 instead. Only single roamer right now is DP5 Big Tower, but he has to make a decision now. Fall back or stick around, and well, he falls back as that meeting wall gets opened up. That means that 5v5, half the round left, 7 drones for DarkZero. Of course, as you saw, Valkyrie cameras on the board for Astralis, but slowly getting figured out and found out and shut down. No C4, Toxic Babes are available, of course. Grismod Mines, Shuttle has one in pocket, can spend it now, just did. That means that they now have somewhat of an idea of where the attack will be coming from as they're allocating resources in particular areas. DC again left with 3 options: front side, back side, or a split attack. The one thing they all have in common, you need to find the opening kill, you need to find the opening somewhere, because otherwise, well, you can't enter the bomb site.
I like that Ella is another component, again. But this time around, a bit of a small choice. You've got the Scorpion instead of the shotgun, so you can engage at a little bit longer range, and it's also shuttle on this roll. They think something the Forest on that Valkyrie, maybe being able to call. Whoever dies first is going to be on cam duty. This is where things start to happen. 40 seconds to go. Nade in hand from Hyper goes towards Pillar. Adrenal Surge goes out as well. It's a drop from the Maverick of Canadian. Pillar eludes him. Pambazoo the first kill. Answered back immediately. Astralis bunkering up in the bomb site as the forces from DZ march ever forward. Pambazoo is now at 7-7. He's heating up. That's bad news for Astralis. There's still 3 kills for him to claim, but it's Hyper to grab shuttle. 2 remain for Astralis, but a shotgun at close range.
Iconic.
Let him go in.
No!
Iconic, be patient. Be patient. What are you gonna do? You know 2 are there, and he gets them both. There's only 1 remaining, and Astralis are in good shape. And JR and 4K from Iconic.
Batman showing up, saved the day, saved the round. I saw Twitter between the maps. People were saying this guy's a fake. He looks more like Bruce Wayne than Batman. I think he has something to say about that. The trigger discipline in that moment is ridiculous. Finding all 4 kills, amazing, iconic.
Protect your bombs from being defused by...
All hail the king, baby. Astralis now on match point. This is, if they prevail, a better scoreline than we saw on Border. DZ won Clubhouse 7-3, that was their map. Astralis' map of Border stolen out from under them by DarkZero by a score of 7-4. Astralis is beating that margin right now. Again, no timeout for DarkZero. You can't just settle yourself down. You got to go into it round by round. What is the mental of DarkZero? What are they at right now?
I mean, that right there, that's when you say, oh boy, I wish we had a timeout. You know, I want to talk about this and settle down the people, the nerves, the calmness, because if you're DC, you're not thinking, oh, we can go bank next. We got a lifeline there. No, you're thinking, this round right now, match point 3-6 down. You got to bring it back. It's going to cost you energy. I mean, Astralis, they have all these strats up their sleeve. You saw Iconic whip out that C4 for a brief moment, change his mind, looking for a spawn peek. Can pick up that black eye camera as well once he's done using it, throw it somewhere else.
Well, he's in tower, and he's got a way back to the bomb site if he wants it. He'll have to drop. A long run over to this Dorm's bomb site. It was a second attempt on Laundry, and Forrest wants an engagement, but he wins it and trades it out with Canadian. The IQ was so crucial before, but it will be no more for DZ.
Honestly, I think that's worth for Astralis. I mean, sure, Forrest has 10 kills, but value-wise, now these cameras and this utility stays alive and unseen. You play 4v4 in defense, less angles for attackers to, you know, cover.
Well, I mean, look at the value that an IQ brings you. You've got all the magnets from DP Fire, you've got the Banshees from the Melusa, you've got the Black Eye Cams from the Valkyrie. None of that available because the IQ died probably way too early in the round to make any significant difference. So I would say, with the Razor Blooms already out, for Forrest on that Thorn, huge value. Nade goes off from Pambazoo. Doesn't connect the way that he wants it to. Adrenal Surge to give himself full HP now, and look at this. Iconic roaming, but he misses an opportunity after the grenade goes off. The call was made, but it's way too late. You got about 5 seconds to act on it, and Iconic was just maybe a bit too slow.
DC now rotating around, still kind of looking for their opening, the next step in this plan. The checklist is sort of being, you know, combed through, but not sure the next step is. I mean, here you're on the fire, 2 people inside of kitchen server situation. DP fires in his tied one. Can't really get out here, stuck on his half wall, but these magnets will help him stay alive.
Just buying time at this point. 1 minute left for DarkZero to get in, and a nade will connect onto Shuttle. Astralis losing the numbers advantage, but Iconic gets them back onto even footing. Hyper is in the bomb site.
They're on site.
They don't seem to know this. It's a post plant though for Iconic. He takes his nitro cell and he goes downstairs. Look at those spam marks. They know there's a black eye cannon there somewhere. J90 completely blind. He's trying to do his best Hyper impression, but Iconic takes out J90. Is it worth it with Eclipse down? Diffuser now in the hands of NJR. He and Hyper will link up inside of dorms. Iconic to retake. They know he's there. Down goes DP Fire. Can the King clutch it? Does DZ know where he is? He has to choose wisely. No marks for him. They spot him, but he gets outdueled by Hyper. Astralis will wait another round to see if map 5 is on the board, and DarkZero wants to keep this one as close as they can get. They need more rounds like that.
Such a close call. The flashbangs blinding multiple people. The chaos, the C4, the team kill, the trade-off. We're still in Matt's probably going to be there for a while. 2 more rounds with DC. 1 more for Astralis.
How odd is it if you're a new viewer and you're tuning in and you're like, it's such a close match, why are they booing?
So unhappy, so ungrateful.
And we're not going to tell you why, by the way.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
You'll never know. You have to ask. Go to the greatest single collection of wisdom on the planet, Twitch chat, and ask them.
Oh boy.
Huge round for DarkZero. I understand what Astralis was trying to do. They wanted to play the post plant. They gave up complete control of the bomb site. They want the nitro cell to go off, and then in the midst of the debris and the commotion, Astralis tries to whisk their way back into the bomb site. Can't do it. DarkZero is ready for it. There's not a lot of confusion. NJR picks up that diffuser, immediately gets into dorms. Hyper's in a very strong spot to watch the top of white stairs.
5 seconds left.
Astralis' logic, I think, is sound, but DZ understood what was happening.
Attackers objective.
You don't just walk into dorms and realize that when there's still 3 or 4 players from Astralis and none of them are in the bomb site, you don't go, oh wow, we just got it for free.
No,
You're thinking,
no.
this is a trap.
Absolutely not. I mean, that's either DC knowing that there's rumors from Astralis or just taking the gamble. Canadian. Doing as he always does, walks around, shows a bit of damage from that generator window rappel from NGR. It's Buck on the lookout on the Overwatch. Of course, Canadian is playing Jackal for this exact reason. He doesn't need any drone work right now for anybody else, so he doesn't take up any team resources. He has his own drone, watches it, walks around that scanner out, can find feed Cs. NTR entering small tower as well, where DP Fire is trying to contest the entryway. Shut down a few drones, denies some information. Of course, if Canadian flanks the freezer stairs, that could be an angle they can abuse.
This is another dorms defense, right? So you want to hold these critical spots under the bomb site. You don't want to give them away, especially not with a Buck on the field. There's an IQ in the hands of Panbazoo, even with that early pick for Astralis previously. They traded off. Didn't end up being as much of an advantage as they thought. Now DZ's first hurdle, first obstacle. Open up some of bathroom, open up some of that dining hall, try to take kitchen. All the while, Canadian has been on a solo mission. He's not being droned in.
Nope.
He punched his own way into blue and has just been slowly creeping up the map. He should make it to kids' dorms somewhere around 3 on Bank, but he'll get there eventually.
He should know by those footsteps that it's the other way around. That means there's somebody in the big tower. Finds the kitchen player of DP Fire. Sees the footsteps, scans them out.
Suddenly, DZ showing signs of life again. No team has won back-to-back rounds since round number 4. Obviously, that benefits Astralis. If they continue to trade rounds, it should be, in theory, over now. Canadian not spotted. J90 exploits that inside a freezer. Down goes Canadian. And just like that, J90 can now start his advance back to the bomb site. Razor Bloom at the top of white stairs goes off. They know that somebody from DZ was there. They would have known already with the barbed wire being hit.
Wood. Double insurance policy in case anybody creeps up the staircase. Those are soon gone for the world. No nades in the pocket of Hyper means that the guns just gotta go out, but you got so many, so why not? 38 left in the magazine. Time for a reload. Let's take a 20-second brief here while we get those loaded up back up. Eclipse is on the big window with Panbazoo, so that's probably gonna be a point of entry. Limited time, limited resources, fire getting popped out, so it's gonna be a sub 10-second execute.
Multiple explosions inside a big window, and there's a nitro cell from Shuttle caught by Hyper. Flash goes in, completely blind, and suddenly Astralis is just narrowing the numbers. Now it's NJR's turn, but Panbazoo, he says something else about that. Gunned down by J90, and Forrest ends the map. We've got ourselves all 5 maps between Astralis and DarkZero. Iconic wakes up. Astralis wakes up. And by a score of 7-4, we will go the distance in Charlotte.
Fifth map activated. It's honestly all I wanted for a grand final of this. Wonderful performance from Astralis. They bring it back.
Unbelievable performance from so many players, individual contributions from Astralis as they wake up when they need to. Bank is our final map. 15 rounds away from crowning a winner. We'll toss to a break and then we'll come back because we know you don't want to